Power isn't just about having control. It's not about being loud or aggressive. It's about leverage, influence, the ability to bend the world in your direction without anyone realizing you're doing it. True power operates in silence. It influences decisions, creates movements, and shapes realities without needing attention. Power isn't what you show, it's what you can do without having to explain. And yet, most people walk through life powerless, reacting to their circumstances, begging for permission, trying to please, trying to be liked. That's not power, that's submission. And if you don't understand the rules of power, how it's gained, how it's used, and how it's kept, then you will always be under someone else's thumb, always answering to their emotions, their decisions, their priorities. But not you. You're here because you want more. You want control over your time, your future, your destiny. You want to become someone who doesn't beg for opportunities, but creates them. Someone who doesn't chase validation, but commands respect. And for that, you need to understand the 5 rules of power. These aren't tips. These aren't motivational quotes. These are principles that define the powerful and separate them from the forgotten. This is part 1, and we begin with the foundation of it all. Rule number 1, control perception. Rule number 1, control perception. Power begins not with truth, but with perception. Because what people think you are matters more than what you actually are. In a perfect world, facts would speak for themselves. Your results would be enough. Your value would be obvious. But we don't live in that world. We live in one ruled by optics, by emotion, by influence, and powerful people know how to shape perception like a sculptor molds clay. They understand that every move, every word, every silence, every glance sends a signal, and they don't leave those signals up to chance. They craft them. To control perception, you must first become hyper-aware of how others see you and how you want to be seen. Do you want to be viewed as confident, mysterious, dangerous, compassionate, strategic? Once you decide, every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce that identity. And here's the twist. You don't achieve this by announcing yourself. Powerful people rarely say, "I'm powerful." They don't scream. They imply. They let others draw conclusions. They don't chase respect. They position themselves so others give it to them. This means maintaining an emotional equilibrium. The one who loses their temper first loses. Why? Because it shows you're reactive, not in control. Power respects calm. It respects stillness. If people can predict how you'll respond, if they know they can push your buttons, you're not in control. You're being controlled. The most powerful people? They're a mystery, unreadable. They don't react emotionally. They calculate. They respond with precision. They let the other person show their hand first, then make their move. And don't confuse being silent with being passive. Silence is a tool. It creates space. It makes others reveal more. It makes people uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, they slip up, say too much, apologize when they don't need to, over-explain. Silence, when used with purpose, forces the world to lean in and ask, what's going on in their mind? That's the attention you want, the kind that builds curiosity, not the kind that screams for approval. But perception doesn't just live in conversation, it lives in presence. How you walk into a room, how you sit, the pace of your voice, your eye contact, your ability to speak with conviction, or remain quiet with confidence. Power is not in volume, it's in control. People watch you more than you think, and the strongest signal you can send is this: I know who I am. I don't need you to validate it. And here's the hard truth. If you don't shape your image, someone else will. They'll label you, define you, decide for you. And the second you hand over your narrative to someone else, You've lost leverage, so control it. Be intentional with how you're seen. Never let your image drift into randomness. The world treats you how you train it to treat you. Rule number 2. Be valuable but replaceable. This rule is a paradox, but it separates players from pawns. You must become valuable, not liked, not entertaining, valuable, meaning you bring results, you solve problems, you carry weight. People rely on you because you deliver. You bring something no one else can. That is the cornerstone of leverage, because the one who brings value controls the dynamic. But here's the trap. If you're too essential, you become a tool, an asset, a worker bee. Indispensable, yes, but chained, because if they can't live without you, they'll never let you go. You become a prisoner of your own usefulness. That's why true power lies in the illusion of replaceability. You want to be valuable, but on your own terms. The moment someone thinks they own your time, your energy, your loyalty, you've given up control. The key is to position yourself as a solution, not the only solution. You don't want to be seen as, we can't function without them. You want to be seen as, we should keep them, but they don't need us. That distinction changes everything. It gives you the freedom to walk away, the power to negotiate, the ability to say no without fear. Powerful people never cling. They never stay where they're no longer growing, because they've built their skill set to be portable, transferable, in demand. They walk into every room knowing, if this doesn't serve me, I can leave, and they'll feel the loss more than I will. To master this rule, you must constantly invest in yourself. Read, train, learn rare skills. Become so competent that wherever you go, you create value. Don't get comfortable being needed in one place. Get comfortable being respected everywhere. Because when you're only valuable in one space, you're not powerful, you're trapped. You're stuck performing for the people who need you, afraid to disrupt the balance. But when you can walk into any room and command respect with your skill set, you're free. And remember, value is not just in what you do, it's in how you do it. Your attitude, your standards, your boundaries, your consistency. The people who bring the most value bring not just results, but reliability. They show up, they follow through, they elevate the space they're in. That's what makes them indispensable, but without being dependent on that one place. These first 2 rules are the foundation of real power. Control how the world sees you. Build value on your own terms. If you can master these, you've already put yourself ahead of 90% of the world. But we're not done, because there are 3 more rules, and they go even deeper into strategy, influence, and complete independence. In part 2, we'll uncover how to own silence, how to wield detachment, and how to use absence to multiply your impact. Stay focused, stay sharp. Power is not claimed, it's built, one decision at a time. Rule number 3, say less than necessary. Words are powerful, but the overuse of them is weak. The more you talk, the more information you reveal. The more you explain, the more they understand your mind, your emotions, your limitations. And the more they understand you, the easier it is to predict, manipulate, and disarm you. This is why powerful people say less than necessary. They choose silence over reaction. They let others speak first. They give just enough to maintain presence, and no more. Because when you speak too much, you don't just risk saying the wrong thing, you risk revealing your position. And once people know your position, they can counter it. Think about the people you feared or respected most. They rarely raised their voice. They rarely explained themselves. They didn't need to. Their silence commanded attention. Their restraint demanded curiosity. There's a psychological principle at play here. Mystery creates influence. The unknown forces people to fill in the blanks. When you say less, People imagine more, and often what they imagine is more powerful than anything you could have said. A simple pause before you speak can make your words hit harder. A deliberate glance can carry more weight than an entire paragraph. You don't need to shout when silence echoes louder. But it's not just about being quiet. It's about being intentional. Every word you speak should be calculated. Is it moving the needle? Is it creating leverage? Is it positioning you higher or lowering your value? Most people speak from emotion. The powerful speak from strategy. They've trained themselves to be comfortable with silence, to hold space without filling it, to dominate a room with presence, not noise. The next time you feel the urge to explain, justify, or overshare, pause. Ask yourself, is this power or insecurity? Often, the most powerful response is no response at all. Rule number 4, practice detachment. One of the greatest illusions of power is control over others. But true power begins with control over yourself, and nothing tests your power more than detachment. When you're emotionally tied to outcomes, to people's opinions, to the need to be understood, you are vulnerable. The world can push you, pull you, and manipulate you with ease. But when you master detachment, you become untouchable. Now, don't confuse detachment with apathy. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not owned by what happens. You care, but your identity doesn't crumble if things don't go your way. Powerful people play the game of life like chess, not checkers. They plan moves in advance. They anticipate the loss of a pawn. And when it happens, they don't panic. They adapt. Emotional detachment is one of the highest forms of self-control. When you can walk away from anything that no longer serves you, without a meltdown, without begging, without losing yourself, you carry a terrifying level of strength. Because most people stay attached to people, to status, to validation. And that attachment becomes a weapon that others use against them. Learn to walk away from disrespect, from stagnation, from chaos, from fake loyalty. Learn to love in silence and leave in peace. Because when people know you're not afraid to walk, they treat you differently. Detachment doesn't mean being cold, it means being independent, emotionally self-reliant, grounded in your own value. And that's a power no one can take from you. The moment you stop needing things to go a certain way is the moment you start to control how they go. Rule number 5. Use absence to create value. Presence is power, but absence is leverage. When you're always available, always around, always saying yes, you become expected, familiar, and eventually forgettable. But when you learn to control your presence, when to show up, when to pull back, you create value through scarcity. People don't miss what they always have access to. They don't appreciate what never leaves. The most powerful individuals use absence as a weapon. They withdraw just enough to remind people of what they bring. They disappear just long enough to become missed, and when they return, their presence is amplified. Their voice carries more weight. Their energy feels irreplaceable. Absence isn't just physical, it's emotional too. You don't need to answer every message. You don't need to over-explain your distance. You don't need to be everything to everyone all the time. The moment you pull back strategically, people reevaluate your worth. They begin to see what life is like without you, and if you've built yourself correctly, that absence becomes uncomfortable for them. This rule isn't about being manipulative, it's about creating space for your value to breathe. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is go silent. Go missing. Focus on yourself. Build in the shadows. And when you return upgraded, improved, transformed. So when they see you again, they don't see the same version they took for granted. They see someone they should have never lost. Use absence like seasoning. just enough to make your presence unforgettable. These 5 rules aren't just about gaining power, they're about becoming undeniable. When you control perception, when you build irreplaceable value, when you speak with restraint, detach with discipline, and use absence with precision, you rise above the noise, you stop chasing power, you start embodying it. The world respects mystery, it respects control, it respects those who don't explain themselves, who don't beg for attention, who don't move emotionally, but strategically. And these rules will make sure you become one of those people. Power isn't loud, it doesn't beg, it doesn't rush. It waits, it watches, it strikes, and it never apologizes for being dominant. So study these rules, live them, train in silence, master yourself, and move with intent. Because the ones who know how to wield power never have to ask for it.